up, Snapchat fam? How's everyone doing today? Good? Are you guys ready to learn about Snapchat for business? Yeah, awesome. This is going to be an amazing session. In fact, whoever's out there and wants to get in the session, please let them in, because there's going to be some really good content over the next hour that we're going to talk about. Now, I know this is a Snapchat session, but who in the room is on Twitter? Almost everyone? All right, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and throw our Twitter handles out there. Be sure to add us, follow us, tweet out this session. We've got Danny Burke, at Danny Burke. On the right, we have at Cyrene Hugh, is your username?
Yep, C-Y-R-E-N-E.
We have at Sean Ayala, and then...
That's S-H-A-U-N-A-Y-A-L.
And then I'm your moderator, Carlos Gil, 83 on Twitter. Over the next hour, we're gonna talk about how Snapchat is evolving as a legitimate marketing platform. By show of hands, real quick, who in the room uses Snapchat in their business currently? Look around. And who aspirationally wants to start using Snapchat in their business? Excellent. So let's jump right into it. Here's how this is gonna work. We've got a few questions lined up for our panelists here. But this is all about giving value to you guys, to the community. So if you have any questions on your mind about Snapchat, how to use this from a marketing and sales perspective, if you have any questions that have been brewing to ask these creators, these are some of the top creators on Snapchat, feel free to jump up and start getting in line to ask those questions. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it off with Danny on the right-hand side. Let's jump right into it, Danny. Why should brands want to work with influencers?
Because if you work with anyone else, they're not going to make the professional content that we do. This is our job, so we're putting all the effort into it, and we love it. And like I signed a year deal with Jack in the Box, so I'm doing really creative stories for their account, not really selling stuff. They're kind of telling me about a product that they want me to talk about, and then I'll be on a plane and be like, I'm craving the portobello mushroom buttery Jack, but I'm all the way up here and Jack in the Box is down there, and I'll go skydiving down to go get Jack in the Box. So we're making really good professional content for the brands to get people really, really into it and want to keep watching. And then also on our accounts, we'll be telling our followers to go over there so we can help them grow as well.
I think for me, it's that a lot of people look up to us. We're like a friend to them. We have hundreds of thousands of friends, but we're a big sister to them. And having that endorsement and having us tell them about your brand that fits us, I think it's the most effective way to get your brand out. So they're not just looking at an ad, they're getting the message from somebody that they trust. And so that's why working with influencers, I think, is very important and effective.
Yeah, I just think about just short form video in general, right? Like that's where it's going. You look at Facebook, Instagram, and everything that they're doing. Influencers know, I don't want to say influencers, content creators, right? These are storytelling content creators. They know how to tell a story in 10 seconds, right? And stitch them together.
So, this is a question I want to open up for all three of you guys, because what I heard here is that brands are challenged with creating content. So, full disclosure, I run social media for a large enterprise brand. Marketers aren't necessarily creative storytellers, and marketers themselves as personal brands don't have the reach that you guys have. So things like working with brands around helping them create content is a challenge for the brands, and that's where you guys come in. Working with brands to help them grow their audience is another opportunity. From the standpoint of a CMO sitting out there, why should they really look to go ahead and work with any one of you as opposed to working with their agency or using in-house resources?
Well, so I'll jump in. I think it's authenticity, right? Like you have these creators that's been on the platform for over 2, 3, 4, since 2011 it seems like, right? That's when it was started. And day in and day out, we're creating content that speaks to that audience that is different than any other audience on any other platform, right? And I know, Cyrene, your audience, Danny's audience, I mean, it's the millennials, right? It is that audience that just eats up every piece of what we do on the platform, right?
I think there's also
No, go ahead.
I think there's also a difference between working and also living it. When you work with an influencer, we let people in our lives. We're living, breathing what we're talking about on social media. And so that's why when you work with us, that's what Sean said, it's more authentic. And that's one of the things that I would recommend. It's like if you want authenticity, if you want people to follow you and really put a face on your brand, I would work with an influencer.
Yeah, we really understand how Snapchat works. So sometimes if a brand hasn't really worked with a Snapchatter before, you can do a trick. It's you can do a story, put it on airplane mode, and then text the video that you posted to the brand that you're working with. And be like, hey, is it cool if I post this? And they're like, yeah, of course. Take it off airplane mode, post it, so you can always do that with a brand. And then our followers are super engaging, so you can get our followers involved. And just the goal is, if I was working with a brand, is to just make the best content as possible.
So let me jump in, Danny. So let's say I'm Nike. Let's say I'm head of social media at Nike. We're getting ready to drop the latest Durants or LeBrons, and we have a limited ad budget. So instead of buying Facebook ads, we're going to spend $10,000, and we're going to work with different influencers out there. So what's the first step for a brand to actually find you guys?
First step, I mean, like for me, I find brands because I work with agencies, and also they find me directly because influencers are not only, endorsing your brands through their story, but we're also being on press and everything, and so your brand is advertised everywhere, and so brands find me that way. That would be the first step. And also working with marketers like Carlos, who know these influencers, who talk to us, who are friends with us. That's one way you can find influencers that fit your brand, and they know us too. And so they know what fits and if we're a good fit or not.
And even if you're just looking for, like, you as a brand looking for influencers, right? I would probably start with an app called Ghost Codes. Ghost Codes app where you can pretty much by category find people that may fit in your genre, right? And you can follow influencers, you can follow them, see if they fit your brand, and then reach out to them, right? Because it's all about finding people that fit the person you're trying, or the personality that you're trying to put out there.
So we were having this conversation, Cyrene and Danny and I, on the flight here a couple days ago over to South by, and one of the things that we're talking about is, to your point, so you guys are very talented creators. I'm a marketer. And oftentimes, marketers and creators, they think that they overlap and compete with one another, when in reality, marketers and creators should be looking to work together in unison. So explain how that relationship with creator and marketer works.
So I think marketer, you want to know both sides, but you don't want to do all sides. You want to be good at that area that you're in. Marketers are good at knowing like the overall marketing sense. It's like the bigger picture. What influencers know, they know their audience. And so while the influencer, it's good to know a little bit of marketing and know that side, we want to focus on content creation. And so I think that's how we work together. We work together because we know our side the best. And we can just basically learn from each other. I think that, we talked about that.
Sean, from your experience with the brands that you've worked with, you've done very successful campaigns with Lexus, San Diego Chargers, just to name a couple. From your experience of working directly with a brand manager or social media manager out there, what has enabled you to be successful as a creator in working with these brands?
What I love when working with brands that get it, right? They trust.
But hold on, though. What do you mean by when brands get it?
True.
Let's go ahead and back up.
True. So let's back up there for a second. There have been brands that come to me and say, this is specifically what I want you to do. This is what I want you to create. This is how I want you to say things. Here's the script. That is a robot. I think brands should not encourage their influencers to do, right? The goal, the ones that work, so with Lexus, they came to me with an idea, and they were really passionate about this.
What was that idea?
If I tell you, it wouldn't make sense. It was something around a chocolate car. And I just couldn't figure it out. And I said, hey, let's back up. I can spin that idea into something that would work on Snapchat, right? They just wanted people to create chocolate gold cars. And I'm like, that does not, in my perspective, with the content that I create, does not work. I firmly believe that Snapchat, the content you create on Snapchat isn't about you. It's not about the brand. And that can be twisted a little, but I believe that it's about your audience and how you encourage them to participate and be a part of the story, right? Cyrene does a great job of that, Danny does a great job of that, and they allowed me to just be creative. I pitched them the idea, and I said, I promise you guys, this will work, and they gave me full range, and that is a brand who gets it, right?
Okay. Brand who gets it, so?
I want to add on to Sean that the story on Snapchat and the way that we're telling it is different, and how So Snapchat, I mean, since we are talking about Snapchat, is different from other social media because we have what you call an active audience. People are not just passively watching your Snapchat. I worked with a brand called AMC and Coke, and I took them around the theater, took them around, like there's that popcorn brand, and then I told my followers, hey, why don't you snap me and join my popcorn party? And within minutes, I got thousands of submissions of people drawing a Coke with the Coke logo, and then the AMC popcorn bucket. And some people are saying I spent 5, 10, 15, an hour trying to draw this for you, can you repost it on my story? And I think that's the most effective way that they're not just watching your story, they're actively participating in it, they're taking time to respond, they're emerging with your story, and it's new and it's effective and people are remembering it and it's just engaging. It's amazing. I've tried other different social medias, but Snapchat makes it easy. It makes it easy for them to snap back, all the tools are there. And yeah, that level of engagement blows my mind, even as a creator, seeing all that response.
Yes, the one thing you want to keep in mind, right? Snapchat app is a one-on-one communication app. It is at the core a text messaging app. So you have that personal one-on-one engagement, which that you can't achieve on any other social channel.
Yeah, it's really fun to get, because when you tell your followers to come into your story, what I usually do is screenshot what they say, put it into my other phone, and then put music on it, and then kind of drag it and record it on my other phone and post it to Snapchat, and they love seeing themselves on their story, like they were saying. So one story I did, I have a hoverboard, and I was with my grandma. My grandma's really funny. I'll do a story with her and tell her what to say, and she'll say whatever. It's great. And I was to my followers, do you guys want to see my grandma ride the hoverboard? And I was send me a snap, and if I get enough yeses, she will do it. And so I got all these Snapchats and just got yes, 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 and then I screenshotted them and then put them on my story, and they love seeing that. And then my grandma ended up riding the hoverboard, which is great. And it turned out to be a really good story where it went from just me and my grandma to my followers tuning in to my grandma eventually riding the hoverboard. And then also working with a brand directly is insane. I actually work with Jack in the Box directly, and it's not just working with a brand with them, they're actually pretty much like my friends, and they're really laid back and they're pretty much, we hired you because we want you to reach the millennial generation. We love your content, and all we want you to do is just be you and just do what you're doing, but obviously Jack in the Box.
So I want to stop you there though. What I'm hearing though is that these are very warm and fuzzy scenarios. And real talk guys, most CMOs out there probably aren't on Snapchat. Most executives use Snapchat as a sexting tool for millennials. Let's just address the elephant in the room, right? So we do know that Snapchat is a legit marketing tool because there's brands investing millions of dollars like Gatorade, like MGM Resorts and others on there. However, how do you actually break through to that traditional marketer? Because I know from working at more traditional CPG, consumer marketing companies, a creator doesn't just come in and tell the marketing team, hey, we want to create cool shit for you. It's more of a partnership. So when you do have to work with a brand that's giving you very tight guidelines, are there projects that you just straight up you turn down? Or how do you, let's really speak to how do you work through the minutia of the brand wanting you to actually do A through Z, create the content that they're laying out for you?
I think if a brand wants to work with me, I know they've done the research on me and know what type of content I have. And I think that's the most effective brands that I work with. I mean, if a brand comes to me and it's, let's just say an alcohol brand, I'm not going, since I don't drink personally, I mean a brand who really knows that influence and I know that they know it won't work with me. And so that's not authentic to me. Yes, I've worked with brands who have brief guidelines. I work with them before I was a Snapchatter. I was a web designer. I was in marketing too, and so I have that background. But I think it's just that back and forth conversation that you get the brand perspective. You know that what their goal is, but they also know you. And that's the brands that I work with. Yes, I've turned down brands that doesn't fit me and doesn't get me because I know that I'm not going to be able to make good content for you if you're going to be that, because I know my audience is not going to respond to that. I don't want to waste your time, waste your money. I don't want you to waste my time and money, not money, because I wouldn't be paying the brand. I know it won't be effective marketing if we make it too commercially and you don't know my audience as much as I know them. And so if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, and I don't have an example. I mean, it feels like when the brands are reaching out, they kind of understand they're in this realm of like, okay, I don't really know what to do here. I need your guidance, I need your support. But yes, I mean, they do come with something, but then it's up to us to really say, you know what, here are some things that we suggest. So,
okay.
I don't know.
Let me ask the audience here a question. How many of you wake up in the morning and intentionally look to see a sponsored post on Facebook or on Twitter? Look around.
That one guy.
There's any Facebook ad sales reps in here. All right, who wakes up in the morning? Now let's stay on this path though. Who wakes up in the morning and goes intentionally to see what their favorite brand posted on Facebook? Look around, guys. Nobody. So I personally believe in influencer marketing. I think it works, especially on a platform like Snapchat, where over 40% of millennials in the US are engaging at any single moment on Snapchat. And I believe the reason why influencer marketing works is because you guys possess a certain skill set that most marketers naturally do not have, and that's creative storytelling. Everything from drawing to how you go ahead and tell your story. Traditionally, marketing on social media, it's static, let's face it. It's text-based posts, it's images. Now you're able to humanize your brand in a very fun and creative way. I think that's something that's been lost from social media, is the fun and creative aspect of it. So starting with you, Sean, and going down the road, speak to the audience here. What's the difference between marketing and storytelling?
So marketing, right, we're trying to sell a product or service. That's the end goal, right? We just want to sell something. Storytelling gives you, if you think about twisting marketing, so that same marketing definition, you twist it into storytelling, you now have an opportunity to connect with your audience on an emotional level through storytelling that you can't do through marketing. I'm a graphic designer, marketer myself, and I understand that there are some things that we can achieve through just selling. But one, connecting with your audience in a way through storytelling that you can't do is powerful. And then the other thing that I thought about too is really around through marketing, right? You can do personality, but having a face, having people to represent that brand brings personality to your brand that achieves just a connection piece, right? One-on-one.
Yeah, whenever, Carlos was asking how many of you look forward to seeing a brand, how many people of you look forward to seeing, a sponsored post, and not many people raised their hands. But
nobody raised their hand.
Yeah, nobody raised their hands. But how many people wake up in the morning and want to see their friends post? So, yeah, that's a lot more people. And so
people use social media to engage with their audience. Let's just be real. Good.
So, when you see a friend's post, because it creates like an emotional bond, and that's what we're doing as influencers. We create like emotional bonds. We're friends. Even though we have a lot of friends, but we're friends to them. We're speaking to them one-on-one. We're humanizing it, and I think that's why that storytelling, being that friend, it's the new way of marketing, because word of mouth, having people that you look up to and, listening to what they have to say, what brands that they have, is the next generation of marketing.
See, no one raised their hand for the sponsored post, but a sponsored post on Snapchat, I would raise my hand for if it's creators like us, because the goal is to just make the most creative thing for the brand. And Cyrene does so many brand deals, like the last one with Coca-Cola, and it was so entertaining. It was a full sponsored post, and I was like looking for when she was posting next and stuff like that. So for storytelling, it's pretty much just making it a really, really, like the Snapchat, you don't want to make it too long because people are just going to do the tap through and just, short, sweet, to the point. Like I like to do like a really good intro, like, what's up Snapchat, we're here, we're live on this panel right now, we got all these people here, are you kidding me? I'm so stoked right now. And just get kind of my followers go, wow, this guy has so much energy, I can't wait to see what he's posting next. And then just kind of go like, what are we doing next? And then like do a really cool ending bit just to get your followers all amped and ready for the next story.
So I heard there a couple of keys to success. Shout out to DJ Khaled for any fans in the audience. A couple of keys to success for Snapchat. If your brand is keep your story short, use high energy, so be creative. Again, the key word in social media is social. We know that people aren't necessarily using these channels to intentionally look for brand content, so you have to be fun. Cyrene, let's think of you. What are maybe 2 keys to success on Snapchat, specifically for brands?
Key to success, keep it engaging. Don't just talk to don't just broadcast to your follower. Actually talk to them. have them interact with your story. And I think that is the most, like, I really love stories where you include the audience and let them in your story because they remember it more. They know they were part of the story or they had the opportunity to be part of the story. So that's one. Second one is, yeah, you have to keep it short, but keep it memorable. You don't just want to have one post. Screenshot this as coupon code. Create a story around it, but make it engaging.
Sean?
I like to say 24 hours after your story goes live is the most important 24 hours ever. Because that's your opportunity that your audience is trying to contact and text and message you. You want to be there to engage with your audience. So that's number one, right? Being there to communicate. And the second one is thinking outside the box on how to use the tools that are already given in the Snapchat app, right? Instead of just pressing or creating that snap just to create content that you watch, create content that your end users can experience, whether that's tapping on the screen or screenshotting what you're presenting. It's really thinking outside the box of using those tools.
Yeah, try to do something that no one else is doing, and people will really, really like that. And always keep your Snapchat short, like I said, and pretty much just make it.
So I got another question for you guys. Before we open up to questions, by the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to line up, here in front of the mic. So once again, I am the traditional, old school ad agency, C-level exec, or I'm a brand exec that doesn't necessarily get Snapchat. Starting with you, Sean, how do you, as a creator, measure the ROI for the brand?
Everything is done on engagement. For me, it's views and screenshots. But at the end of the day, it's not about ROI for me. It's really about just getting your audience to interact. I think at the end of the day, once you get them to communicate with you, you're doing something special.
For me, it's about brand awareness on Snapchat. I mean, Snapchat doesn't have the clicks and everything, and so it's just making your brand seem cool. Hey, I'm working with this influencer. This brand is doing cool stuff. This influencer loves this brand. And creating that image that your brand is cool, being used by people they look up to is one way to do it.
All right, question here at the mic. What's happening?
Hey guys.
Right.
So my name is Steve, I work for Shure Microphones. Those are the mics you guys are using, so thanks.
It's a good plug.
Yeah, that's it. We're a global company, so microphones all over the place, and we're just tapping into this kind of marketing too. But what I hear, like the influencer marketing, I see is like, okay, you guys are content creators, and you have these very closed bubbles that sort of eat upon themselves, right? So how does a brand use influencers in a way that taps out of just maybe your specific audiences and into more general audiences? Is there a way for the brand to sort of take that message themselves without counting on these content marketers or influencers to see that for them?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For me, it's about using the employees. Like if you're using the employees to tell that message, and then you have the expert right there, hoping that they can also storytell at the same time, but they can really take advantage of what they know and do something really creative.
But also, it's super hard to gain a following on Snapchat, which is why they also want to hire us. Like, it's so hard. Like, we've all worked so hard to get where our following is today. It's way different than like Instagram or YouTube. Like,
But are there content creators that are less specific? I mean, you guys all have very specific
Do you want like
very specific
do you want to reach the general audience?
And how do you use content marketers to reach people outside of your specific spheres? You have to contract with 20 different content marketers and 20 different...
I'll actually jump in. I'd actually say this. So most brands should be listening to what's being said about their brand by their constituents, right? Which is their followers already and people that are buying from the brand. I would actually start right there. I think actually influencer marketing starts within the brand or within the agency, right? So start within there, actually see who's talking about your brand. Are they a content creator already? Do they have the personality that you would feel comfortable giving them the reins to create content on behalf of your company? If that doesn't work and you don't have the bench internally, then I think that's definitely where folks like our influencers come in to essentially supplement the content that your agency or brand cannot create on its own.
That makes sense. Thanks.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm you know, what percentage are male versus female, how old are they, where they live. A, do you have that information? If you do, how do you have that information? Then analytics on Snapchat, great.
We actually don't, but we have a lot of people snapping us back, and that's how we know who our followers are. If we ask the question, hey, snap us a selfie, and we get like a ton, you know, like thousands of people who have like female face, you know, it looks like it's in the younger generation. Snapchat, I think that is one weakness of Snapchat is that you don't know who your followers are, but you know the face of your followers. They're not just a comment, they're actually a face. And so while you don't have the statistics like Instagram, Facebook about the demographics, you get their selfie, you get their face, and that's you know, like it's different, but that's how I personally.
And then also the messaging, like, hey, I'm a big fan from, and then let's just say New Zealand or something.
Yeah.
So I got a hard question for you guys. That's a really good question around analytics and metrics, especially around demographic data, because brands, they study this data and they're investing in tools like Sprinklr, Spreadfast, and others out there. So you mentioned a good point, Sarah. Instagram provides you that demographic data. Do you feel that Instagram has a leg up on Snapchat from a content creation influencer marketing standpoint?
On analytics, they do, but on content creation and giving the creators the tools that they need, I think they're like generation 1 Snapchat, and they're not there yet. Snapchat has all these features, lenses. It's easy for people to reply back and draw back, and so yeah, you have that analytics, but you're not going to get that much engagement and response as you would if you have a Snapchat specific campaign. So there's like pros and cons, and I think both of them, they might. Like Instagram might be Snapchat, or Snapchat might be analytics, but right now there's too many pros and cons to actually pick a side on which one's better.
At the end of the day, it's about the audience too, right?
Yeah.
Cool, next question.
Hi, my name is Sue, and I was wondering if you guys can speak to, you know, I've heard people say with Facebook and specifically Instagram copying stories like, well, we don't need Snapchat because it's all happening on Instagram. I'd be really curious as to your opinion on the difference there in audience and how you feel about that.
So I actually love it. Like, in all honesty, I really love what's happening in this space, because as a marketer, as a brand, you now can focus, right? It's not, oh, I got to get on Snapchat to target this audience. Maybe that audience wasn't your audience to begin with anyways. Now Instagram, you can go all in there, or Facebook. I know it's still in the beginning stages, but if your audience is already there, everyone who you connect with is on Facebook, why go anywhere else? Just focus.
And I think that's definitely a legit question there, because you have a lot of brands that they ask this question to me on a daily basis. Should I be on Snapchat if I'm already on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter? And the answer is, try them all. You know, real talk, guys. If your community lives somewhere and you want to reach eyeballs and get people's attention, you should look to have a presence there. Now, Instagram is interesting because, again, being that it's owned by Facebook, you can do things like Instagram ads, and you have analytics and so forth, and they've rolled out stories. So as creators, starting with you, Danny, have you started to look at Instagram as a tool where maybe you'll start creating content on there and expand your skill set, if you will, as an influencer?
For me, I wouldn't, because I feel like Instagram is more kind of like sketches and acting. Like if you see all the big people on Instagram, they're kind of acting and doing really funny skits. That's not the way I do my videos. So my goal is to take Snapchat as far as I can take it and just keep creating amazing content, and say Snapchat is done, hopefully not, like Vine or something. It'd be really cool to get into YouTube and do some vlogs, because I feel like I would be more my type of the way I do videos is more a vlog, of like a vlog. And then to get into hosting as well, because I've hosted a couple things. It's really fun.
I mean, for me, I haven't personally grown Instagram because I haven't seen as much engagement, or I haven't been able to do the same thing I have on Snapchat on Instagram. Instagram does have a copy version of Snapchat, but again, they don't have the tools for my followers to snap me back easily. They don't have the tools for my followers to draw me back easily. And there's a difference. For Instagram, I think it's more of a passive viewing. People are just liking, looking at your stuff, but on Snapchat, it's you're talking a live audience, you're talking to them, they're interacting back. And I haven't been able to do that on Instagram yet. So until Instagram can do that, I'm I'm going to stay, I'm not staying loyal to the platform, but my fans are loyal to Snapchat right now because I can do those things.
You know, my brand and the value that the message I'm trying to create, we all try to prove that we can't always show ROI on brand. But with Snapchat now going public, and it's now, you know, a different beast essentially in movie. You know, we know how things ended up for Vine, and 4 years ago, Vine was where everybody wanted to be and nobody knew how to be. So, as this is your platform that you guys are successful in, how do you see not being able to sometimes show that ROI, or even Snapchat having to show ROI and monetize what you guys do? How's that going to affect the content that you create as a channel for us to market?
So I think with all the data I've been reading lately and all the partnerships that they've been doing, or partnering with a lot of companies, it seems like we're going to get exactly what we're used to as a marketer. I don't know how fast that's going to come, unless you guys know anything I don't know here, but.
I guess I more wonder too, how as people who are influencers on the platform, how do you keep Snapchat authentic in the way that it is now? Not going the way of Facebook, or like my mom's on Facebook. You know, I don't want to be friends with my mom on Snapchat. You know, as soon as grandma's on Snapchat, it's done. You know, it's going to be something new. So I think, how do you guys, as to me, who I see sort of the champions of a relatively unknown influencer market, how do you want to see it change to keep fresh?
And I think it's an evolution. Like, that's just what's going to happen, right? It's just up to us to keep creating content and finding other platforms to shift over to and make it cool.
You know, and this is always, you know, my advice when Sean and I get together, you know, to any other creators like Sean out there, is be loyal to your community, be loyal to the people that follow you, because guess what, guys?
Yeah.
If you don't believe in the evolution on social media platforms, ask AOL and MySpace and Vine what happens when people grow up. The platforms change, and you're right. Facebook, when it started off, was very similar to Snapchat. You had to have a college or university email address just to have a Facebook account. And Facebook today is used widely by grandmas and grandpas everywhere to keep up with what their kids and grandkids are doing. So I think eventually Snapchat will change. We're seeing it happen already. As a lot of us consume this sort of content, we're intrigued. We spend more time on Snapchat, and guess what happens? You know, the kids that are in their early teens or in college, they don't want to be there. They want to be on house party or the next cool thing. I think the challenge for brands is, how do you penetrate the next big thing if your audience is there? The challenge for creators becomes, how do we leverage our community and drive them to these platforms? And the key word is being omnipresent.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be omnipresent, whether you're a creator or you're a brand, and you want to put all your eggs into one platform, then guess what's going to happen when that platform dies? That's your answer.
You're right. So I'm yeah. Agree.
Hey guys, so agency side here. A lot of brands here, but I'm from an agency in LA. Two questions. First question is, you guys are all influencers, and as an agency, how do you find the right influencer for the brand that we're speaking for? Like, for example, if I have a brand for X product, I might not pick Sean, I'll pick Cyrene for that. How do I find people like Cyrene on Snapchat, and it's so hard to search?
Well, if you Google like Snapchat star, Snapchat influencer or something, Cyrene's actually the biggest artist out there, so all these articles will be about Cyrene. But if you Google, it's a true statement. She, when I first started, it was one of my inspirations. But
So there's no
that's another story. But yeah, Google search. There's a lot of Business Insider, Forbes. There's so many articles that you can see.
I mean, for me, like, you know, when I first started Snapchat, I saw that this is a problem, and so I started a website called the11second.com, and it's basically featuring, you know, up-and-coming Snapchat artists, and I not only put their Snapchat code, but I tell their stories, you can see their brands, and Snapchat artists are aware of this, that we're not being seen, and so I think as a Snapchat artist that, you know, is well-published, you know, brands can look at me, but they also know I'm associated with 11second.com, which I feature the whole community. I collab with them. And so if you just follow one person, maybe ask them, you know, recommendations, because we're a really, really tight community. And and you know, like how would you know? Start following us, start seeing our stories, start seeing who we're collaborating with, and add them to and see if they're a fit for that brand.
Right, I think my issue with that is, as a marketer or as an agency person, we can't historically look at your past stories.
Right.
Oh, well, for a lot of Snapchat, we YouTube some of our best stories too.
So it is archive, yeah.
So I got another answer for you, my man. So two things. One, Sean brought up Ghost Codes earlier, which is a great resource for you to find personalities and users of Snapchat, and it's indexed by different categories. But in the year 2017, influencer marketing, or the word influencer, really is what Blogger was in 2007. So if, for example, you're a hospitality brand and you're Marriott, and you want to go ahead and find influencers that are a hospitality brand, because it sounds like you're an agency and you have clients. So for example, your clients could be hospitality, it could be men's fashion, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, all right, we want to bring influencers, or people that have reach, to the client. So what you're going to do, you're going to go to Google, and you're going to do a good old-fashioned Google search, hospitality bloggers. All of these bloggers out there are on most of the social platforms, and they all have reach, which is through their blog, being a website, and through their email list. And that's value right there. Because if you partner with these bloggers, then now you can tap into these other channels. Again, the name of the game here is being omnipresent and being able to tap into these different networks. So I would encourage you to do a good old-fashioned Google search and find who are the top bloggers in hospitality, for example, if you're Marriott, whoever your clients are. Contact them if you go on the resources like Ghost Codes and you don't necessarily find an influencer that fits the vertical that you're looking to do a campaign.
And it's funny because I know with Irene, when she's looking to feature people on the 11second.com, she does her education and she follows them for about 2 weeks, making sure that the content they create is consistent and it's worth being highlighted. I mean, it's all about educating yourself, right? So.
And the next question, thank you guys. How do you measure success for your own business, or for your own stores you're working with brands?
Good question.
For me, do you want to start first?
I think for me, it's just the engagement. That's my success. Just seeing if, like with Lexus, it was, we don't know what to expect here. It's a high-end customer on Snapchat. And then they were just blown and overwhelmed with the engagement that I was able to get out of their community.
So just number of views, is that what, yeah, or also?
Snaps being sent back to me. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I measure success by views, but not only views, but the ratio of people snapping me back and responding to my story. There's also screenshots. And I think screenshots are really important because they chose to keep a snap of your story and save it on their phone. And so I think those are 3 ways you can measure. There's views, screenshot, and snapbacks. Oh yeah, and also comments. So that's 4 ways to measure success.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Hello, sorry I came late, so I'm sorry somebody already asked this question.
We'll start all over.
Yeah. From a standpoint of both time and financial investment, can you guys talk about kind of the range and gamut of how you start dealing with a brand or a brand partner and what the collaboration is like and how you kind of decide to...
Rock, paper, scissors this? Okay, no, well, for me, I work with them. First, you know, like the brand reaches out to me through email, and then as a creator, I see if that brand fits me. And then after that, you know, I either say, you know, this brand doesn't fit me, or I'm just going to start a conversation. After that, the brand usually does tell me, hey, this is a brief, this is what we want to do, are you a good fit for our brand? Then we start talking about money and negotiation. What I usually do is I ask the brand, what is your budget? I do want to work with you. I'm a fan of your brand. Let's work together. And I can tell you what type of Snapchat stories. I mean, whether I'm going to be monitoring that account for engagement for 24 hours, or it's going to be just a short one that's going to be like, you know, like, it's not going to be like, you know, well, let me see. Like, it's just different types of Snapchat stories that I present to brand. And once that's set, then I do a storyboard. And then after the storyboard, I, you know, we go back and forth with the brand. And then I create the story, and then the brand sees it. And if it's approved, then it goes live. And so it's a similar process to you working with a website designer or a TV commercial, but you're working with an influencer. We have the same process. And I mean, that's how I personally work.
I fully agree with everything, but say the brand's about to be set and done, we're trying to figure out how many stories am I going to do, how many shots am I going to do, is this going to be on my Snapchat, is this going to be on their Snapchat, and then just kind of figure out, say you have to do this amount of shout outs, that might be a little bit more money because I'm doing more shout outs, so you have to figure it like that. And then when I'm working with brands, say it's like a big deal, or let's just say I'm doing 10 stories for them, I'll throw out maybe like a good amount of ideas, and then they'll kind of pick which ones they like and stuff like that.
For me, I'm really big on storyboarding, and I'll storyboard the entire thing for the client to see before we even start anything, right? Everything is everything is the ideation, just that whole beginning piece before you even get into Snapchat. It's all the discussions beforehand.
So then, like, what would the average kind of run-up time be? Like, if I wanted to engage one of you for, like, a launch or something, and I said, okay, I want you to do 5 stories over the course of 5 weeks, would that take, like, 2 days to get it ready, or would it take, like, a month? Like,
I'm sure it varies by all of us, but it just depends on what the goal is, right? I mean, some of us are really quick and nimble, and some of us like to just spend some time and kind of like hash it through.
Yeah, it all depends on the influencer. I mean, I would give the influencer, if you want something and you want to have that conversation and let them know your brand and your goal. I mean, you need like 2 or 3 days. You don't just want to pop them up, hey, can you do this tomorrow? Then, you know, the influencer will be like, yeah, I can do this, but they won't get your message that you're trying to do. I mean, you need to start that conversation early.
Yeah, Friday I got an email and I was like, I'm busy this weekend, but I can't do anything. Yeah.
There you go.
Hi, I'm a graduate student and I study influencer marketing, and I want to know if you guys see any value with doing like brand takeovers on Snapchat, or are the followers really just more interested in connecting with you rather than the brand directly?
It's a really good
Yeah,
question.
that's a good question.
I mean, I've done a lot of brand takeovers, and I see a lot of, well, whenever you're working with a brand, the followers know that you love the brand. I mean, I work with Disney, and Disney is one of my biggest clients, and they know that I love Disney. Even if I'm not working with Disney, I'm drawing Disney character. And when I say, hey, there's this cool account, Disney account, that, you know, is on Snapchat, my followers are like, hey, thank you for telling us this account. We're going to go there so we can see more Disney stuff. So it's like an added value to your followers. So and it is going to filter out. Not all your followers will transfer over, but I don't know. Like, I enjoy it whenever I tell my followers this. It's like a gift to them. I found another account that's cool to follow, and I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I fully agree. I feel like your followers will be like, I get messages from my followers saying like, oh, super proud of you, like that's awesome, really cool brand you're working with. And I love taking over brand accounts, it's so fun.
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword too, just because if I'm taking over a brand's account and I'm only doing it one time, and my audience goes over there and they expect to see me, not even expect to see me, if I'm providing content that is unique and different on that account, and that brand does not happen to maintain or keep them entertained the way the influencer would, you might end up losing that number again, right? So get us on for 4, 5, 6 times so we can kind of get the flow going. Hopefully the brand can learn from what we've done on the account and try to utilize some of those learnings into their next stories to just keep maintaining something cool and different.
Because I think what's tricky there is you're going to do this activation with a brand for maybe 1 or 2 times. Your followers, when you go jump over, for example, they're going to follow Lexus, but it's still up to the brand to keep that community, that follower base engaged. So the creators or the influencers are filling a gap, which is content marketing on a platform in which you have to pick up a phone to create content. You can't just have an agency outsource and farm it out and upload a cool video or a cool photo.